Hi everyone and welcome for this brand new tutorial. I'm going to show you how to paint easily 4 different league of Votaan. There are one who are not included into this video. Just before I already do a video, it's the Trans-Ymyrian Alliance, and for that reason I decided to not treat this one. By the way, I start by using a Slapchop method with some few dry brush, and you can see already the video about the Slapchop method if you want to see the step about dry brushing, but it's really simple. What next? Yes, I use only Speedpaint, but the first version, because I received the new version, but I don't actually try it, so I will do for you a video about that. But for the moment I select only the paint I already have. So don't hesitate to like, subscribe and comment, and by the way you can always share my work into your social network. That's always welcome for your support, and you can always come on Patreon to support me and have access to more and more content. Let's go for the paint. So for the Greater Thurian League, I'm going to start by using the plasmatic bolts for the clothes and the holy white for the armor. After that, I'm going to use the hardened leather for the leather and the Gravelord grey for all the different parts of metallic. So when I apply some speed paint color, I try to always use a palette who are going to be in ceramic or in plastic, but never in paper or something like that, because it's going to drink the paint and change the possibility you have with this paint. Remember to use a synthetic brush when you use this kind of ink. The contrast kind paint and the speed paint, by the way, is always going to work some few the hair of your brush, and it's always really more easy to apply with a synthetic brush than a more classical brush. When I paint, I always try to paint first the parts are going to be the more complicated to access, and after, step by step, I'm going to paint the more the accessories, the armor, and after the accessories. But a lot of time start by the clothes or the flesh, and after the clothes, and after the armor and the different small details. So on these miniatures I do a dry brush of white directly on a black primer, then one spray of airbrush in white. But you can always do that directly after some few dry brush with white, and you can always do that, by the way, directly on a white primer. That's work pretty well too. I clean my brush, and now I'm going to apply my second color, so the armor part. And now I come back on the different laser with the hardened laser color. And by the way, after I reapply some Gravelord Grey directly on all the non-metallic part or the metallic part. I want something more futurist. And now with some Gravelord Grey, who are a very dark grey, I come back on the gun, by the way, and on some viewport. You have seen that I don't fix for the moment the head, just because for me it's a really important focus, and it's always more easy with this kind of design to paint the head separately. And by the way, you can play and paint different head in the same time. I will show you that later. Remember, if you do some few mistakes, you can always clean your brush, and just with some few water you can come on and remove the parts you think you put too much. That's always possible. Or you can wait the end when it's totally dry and come back and clean with the previous color or with a more classical color. If you think the clothes is a little bit too clear, you can come back and make one more layer of the color, so it will be more covering and more dark. Just wait, the color will be totally dry before you apply a second layer. That's really important. If it's not totally clean, so the paint can be removed, and that's not a good point. I apply some Gravelord Grey on the protection who have on this part, just because I do on this protection, and it's more logical like that. And by the way, just to have more deep effects, I can apply again this Gravelord into this part. let's go for the Kronus Hegemony, and for this league I'm going to use the Sand Golem for the clauses and the green-black for the armor. By the way, I'm going to use as second element the Gravelord always for the weapon and the Dark Wood for all the different leather. I'll start with the clauses because this is the surfaces where are going to be the more complicated to reach, so it will be more easy for me. Remember to use a synthetical brush. I repeat for the people who are going to take a look only on the league they want and not necessarily the other. So if you're going to view all the different leagues paint, I'm going to repeat just a few, but it's for the good, some few good reasons. Once again, I use palettes in plastic or in ceramic, but no in paper, just because it's going to change a lot the texture of my paint, and we don't need that. I make my best to don't make any mistake. It's really important when you apply this kind of color. Just for you to remember, I paint separately the head just because it's more easy like that to reach the different surfaces and focus after on a different series of head. And now with some green black I come back on every part of armor. And now with some dark wood, I'm going to come back on every leather part. And now with some few Gravelord Grey, I come back on the weapon, and by the way, on all the different surfaces I not already painted. So this time we are going to paint the League of Urks. I mean, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but that's the Urani search regulates. And for that, I'm going to use some Alignant green for the clauses and some Absolution green for the armor. By the way, I'm going to finish by using some hardened leather for the leather and some Gravelord grey for all the different metallic parts. I always start by applying my color with the clauses, because it's going to be the part who are the most difficult to reach, and I use a palette in plastic or in ceramic, but not in paper, just to be sure the consistency of paint will be the best. By the way, I use a synthetic brush, just as a reminder, just because it's going to be more easy to apply with a synthetic brush than with a traditional and more expensive brush. I'm going to apply the absolute green, who are going to be a pretty strong green, and pretty dark, by the way, and that's going to create some clear distinction between the armor and the clauses. So I come back with some few hardened leather for the surfaces where are going to be some leather. I will finish with some Gravelord grey. And let's start this last league. This is a Ymyr Conglomerates, and this time we are going to use Cloudburst Blue for the clauses and some Blood Red for the armor. By the way, I'm going to finish to use just some few hardened laser for the defense laser, and for the non-metallic metal this time I'm going to use some green black directly. So first the tissue, and we are going to apply this blue pretty dark into all the closest part, just because it's more complicated to reach, so it will be the first we will done. Just as a reminder, I use a synthetic brush because it's better to apply this kind of paint in my opinion. And by the way, I'm going to use a palette or in plastic or in ceramic, everything but not in paper, because it's going to dry a part of my paint and change a lot the constitution of my paint, the chemical constitution, and that's not what we are looking for. So remember just these few steps. By the way, try to be more precise you can, just because I mean, if you use a dark color and you come back later with a more lightful color, it's not going to work, because it's not going to be enough covering to change the different colors. So just fix and try to fit perfectly with the different surfaces. And now with the blood red I come back on the different armor part. And now with some hardened laser I come back just on the surfaces were in laser. So I'm thinking about at the beginning make some few surfaces in green black for at the end. but finally my blue for the clothes is already pretty dark, and I mean I'm thinking about stay on the last part, but only in Gravelord Grey to have something not so dark than Grim Black. We're going to be, in my opinion, perhaps a little bit too much dark and not create confusion between the black, the Grim Black, and the clothes who are in a dark blue. So I decided to apply some Gravelord Grey on the last part. And now I prepare all the head directly and prime in white, simply like that. I just fix on metallic things, and just with a point of super glue on every head, like that. I'm going to start by using some Crusader skin on all the head, and after I will use different kind of color for the different hair everywhere. So now, just with my synthetic brush, I come back and I apply on all the face. By the way, if I want something more strong, for example, a more strong color, I'm going to apply 2 layers if necessary. So I use some hardened leather for the hair, but you can mix and change the color of the different hair. That's going to keep and gain some diversity into the different face you are going to paint. I use some green black right now, and this time for some hair again, but by the way I'm going to apply on every neck, just to create something very dark on this part. And here is the result. I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. It's taken me around 15 minutes by miniatures, just to have something ready to play, and for me Speedpaint is just perfect for that reason. And by the way, I'm going to thinking about a way to develop that and trying to have something better. I already do some improve your tabletop, but for the moment it's exclusive to my boss. But tell me in comments if you can be interested, and if there are any some few comments about that, I will try to make it for you. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon for the next tutorial. Bye bye.